Panda, 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 panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just to the lean the family. Credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van.
Alright everybody, and welcome back to another Division build video. This video has been asked for me to do quite a few times, and this is actually an updated version of one of the previously ones I've done. If you watched the Splatter Squad video that I just recently put up today, you will understand this melt machine. I'll link that video in the description below. And also, while you're checking out that video, don't forget to check out the other links in the description. Facebook, community, Revolution Gaming, the most awesome, non-toxic, most positive community out there on all things gaming, not just Division. And if you want to enter into the console giveaway, then click on that Gleam link and just follow the steps and you'll be entered in. And don't worry, there'll be gameplay coming afterwards to demonstrate the destruction of this build. But anyways, without further ado, well, let's hop right into it. First off, let's start with the weaponry. You can take your choice of MP7 or the Navy MP5. MP7, 23.1 base damage with deadly, responsive, and unforgiving. Magazine has magazine size, crit hit chance, and rate of fire. And on the optics, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and headshot damage. And also on the muzzle, we have crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and headshot damage. And on the underbarrel, crit hit damage, stability, and optimal range. Now moving on to the Navy MP5, 25.6k base with responsive, deadly, and fierce. Magazine size, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and the optics, crit hit damage, headshot damage, crit hit chance. And the muzzle, we have crit hit damage, headshot damage, crit hit chance. And in the underbarrel, we have crit hit damage, accuracy, and reload speed. And if you prefer an AR, I've just been messing around with this little G36 at 26.9k with brutal, responsive, and focused. Focus is not that great of a talent unless you use it properly, which is no skills on cooldown, weapon damage is increased by 10%. So basically a little over 2k added to that. So it's good to start off with as far as getting your shots off first. Before having to hit a pulse or a heal or anything along that nature. And also, I have been messing around, yes, with the Midas, with competent and deadly, and of course the Midas talent. Each bullet you hit with reduces your damage by 1% and your target's damage by 1% to a max of 20%. I was toying around with this in the DZ, and it's actually quite pretty fun, because I mean, as they're coming towards you, when you're doing, 27.9, and that's slowly going down, and also theirs is going down along with it. It was just something to play around with, but the RPM, I think, is really too low. So it's just something just to toy around, just to have fun with. And if you prefer the M870, then, you can be a shotgun fan as well, but I prefer to go with the SMGs and the AR, such as these two. Alright, let's hop right into the build. Vigorous chest piece, 1982 armor with skill, haste, and health and ammo capacity. In the mod slots, we have 265 firearms and 263 firearms, both with skill power. Now, if you prefer to stack in skill haste, by all means do so, which is you'll get your heal back faster. But this is a primary DPS that has just mediocre skill power as it is, and that would just deteriorate that skill power even more. So you would only get probably like 50k in health if you switch to skill haste versus the skill power on them. But if you're running with a group, you can also switch to firearms mods with crit chance, and that would even boost your crit chance even up further. So when I'm running in a group, then I switch to the firearms with crit chance, so that way I'm maxed out basically at on my crit chance around 54 to 55 when I'm running with a dedicated healer. But in solo or in duos, then I prefer the firearms with skill power. Moving on to the mask, we have a Final Measure classified mask here at 986 armor with crit chance, roll to firearms, and burn resistance for those pesky flame turrets. Doesn't help much, but every little bit helps. And also in the mod slot, 255 firearms with 3,236 skill power. Moving on to the knee pads at 1636 base armor, and the major attributes we have health at 14,233. You can roll that and get another at least 1,500 out of that. And it's also rolled to firearms. And the minor attributes, we have bleed resistance, burn resistance, and shock resistance. And in the mod slots, we have 258 firearms with skill power and first aid self-heal. Then we move along to the specialized backpack. Roll to firearms, decent. Armor roll at 1252. Major attribute is crit hit damage instead of health. Now, if you chose to roll this with health, then it would put you over 300k toughness, which is not really that much difference. It's just a matter of just a couple extra bullets. So I opted in for the extra crit damage, and as you can see in that Splatter Squad video, and then in the video that will end at the end of this video, you can see the destruction that it handles out, and your survivability is just fine at 287k. And the minor attributes, we have bleed resistance. In the mod slots, we have firearms with skill power with 6% first aid self-heal. And then we have the skull gloves at 988. This would be even more potent if I could find some Skull MC gloves rolled the way I'd like them, with good armor, but with firearms higher than 1200. If I could find some around 1250, 1260, that would make this build a little bit more potent. And then I have the trifecta at SMG damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage. Now moving on to the holster, it is the Lone Star classified holster at 993 armor. Main stats across the board are 1384, 1398, and 1379. And in the major attributes, we have 8,070 health. Now moving on to the skills that I use. Pulse, you get 13.3% out of it with an additional 13.3 damage. And then on your heals, you get a little over 76k in health. Talent-wise, running in duos mainly. As you can see, I have Adrenaline. Medkit now heals over 10 seconds and will not stop healing when taking damage. And of course, the Triage, heal an ally with a skill to reduce skill cooldowns by 15%. That helps out tremendously when running with someone. But yet, if you're running solo, then it'll just be a wasted talent. Critical save, use a medkit during low health to increase damage resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. And then we have combat medic, use a medkit near allies to heal group members and proxies within 20 meters by 40%, which also helps out in duos and groups. So basically that is the build. And I'll show the base. 28.1k base damage to this test dummy that's within 10 meters, non-crit. And then we're critting for 62. Now moving on to the noggin, or the head area. 79.4k headshot crit, non-crit is 45.4. MP7, 41 to the head, non-crit, and then 70k crit. 25.4 to the body, non-crit, and 55.1, that is a crit. But anyways, we will send you over to some gameplay and let you see for yourself. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and here's some gameplay.
Look, yeah.